Welcome to Teens and Screens. I'm your host, Candy Pettiford. Let's think about screen-based technologies like television, computers, and social media devices as a highway. Research has shown that a vast number of teenagers are driving on this highway in the wrong lane. Many are not observing the rules of the road. Some are going way too fast without realizing the dangers that lie ahead. And many are given no guidance as to where they should be going at all. Teens and Screens has gathered together a variety of people from different backgrounds and cultures, some younger and some older, to discuss this topic. Welcome to Teens and Screens Part 2. I'm your host, Candy Pettiford. Hopefully you've had the chance to see Part 1 of our program, where teenagers talk about the role that televisions, computers, social media devices play in their lives. In Part 2 today, you'll hear from our distinguished panel of adults, and most of them are parents, who share this same technology with our youth. The use of technology today is like a highway with stops along the way called smartphones, chat rooms, blogging, texting, surfing, and most anything that our young people are into. This highway also has green, yellow, and red lights. A green light means go. Feel free to visit these sites. A yellow light means slow down, think about it. Visit these sites with caution. And of course, a red light means you're going down the wrong highway, stop. Do not visit these sites. Research has shown that we as adults have not always been the best example of how to use modern technology. Parents text while driving, even with their children in the car. Instead of helping our children with their homework, we can be found on our BlackBerry, home computer, or even plop down on the sofa in front of the television. Teens and Screens Part 2 will ask our panel some of the do's and don'ts when it comes to the use of screens by teens and by we as adults and parents of teens. Well, let's meet our panel of adults and parents, starting from my far right and then going along to my far left.
I'm Renee.
I'm Elfrida.
I'm Gabe.
I'm Cara.
I'm Bob.
I'm Jamela.
I'm Jerry.
I'm Joy.
Well, welcome everybody. Thank you so much for being here. Well, let's open with this question. What are some of the real benefits you think young people gain from watching TV and using the internet and cell phones? What are some of the green lights here? Anybody?
Well, I think some of the benefits of watching TV is, I know for my kids it's educational, and it's also a way for them to be able to kind of decompress or take it easy after working so hard.
You mean wind down a little
Wind down and take it easy after maybe a stressful week at school.
And it can kind of help them explore what their talents might be. They get to watch a variety of people doing different jobs and kind of get to see behind the scenes of things, and it gives them an idea of what they are interested or not interested in.
Renee, what about you?
I know for Rob, he uses the internet a lot for school. He knows how to type a lot earlier than I ever used to learn how to type, and so that's a benefit. I don't think they even have typing classes anymore, do they? Because they're just so used to it anymore. And you know, you're, like you said, you're able to explore places where you never get to go, like the Antarctica or NASA, the NASA channel, and some of those educational pieces are beneficial.
Well, we haven't said anything. We said about TV, but nobody said anything about cell phones. I'm going to call on you, Elfrida. What do you think? Is there a benefit for the kids using cell phone?
Yes, I think that there is a benefit. I remember one time when my granddaughter was away she was at one of her games and she needed a cell phone and she did not have a cell phone and she was left there by herself. Oh. And it was dark and I was just frantic because I knew she didn't have a cell phone. So I think it's important for kids to have a cell phone to be able to keep in touch with their
Well, it sounds like you're saying to me, you guys, correct me if I'm wrong, is this a leash? Are we talking about a leash here? I mean, electronic leash, you know? I mean, well, I don't know. What do you think about that, Gabe? Do you think?
In some ways it actually can be, because I know that with my mom sometimes it is a little bit can be a little bit excessive with some of the where are yous and stuff like that. Like if I just go out.
And you feel you do need to answer, don't you think?
Yes.
Oh, yes. What about you, Bob? What about you with the cell phone and TV?
Well, with the cell phones, I think one factor is makes it much better safety-wise.
Okay.
Keeping in touch with your kids, or if they're in an emergency, they can call you or 911 or anything. So.
Oh, yeah. What about you, Jim? Were you done, Bob?
Oh, I was going to say television-wise, just
good.
a whole world of knowledge that is opened up for young people.
Oh, yeah. Jamila, what did you think about this?
Well, I definitely believe that the cell phones are for safety, and you know, at times children, young adults need to have them. It is the world that we live in, you know, much like, you know, Sister Elfrida said, is that, you know, when your child is in a predicament when they need to get a hold of you and they don't have a phone, that's troubling.
Yes, it is.
And also, if you haven't heard from them or seen them, it would be nice to be able to call them. So in that sense, it is very good. Television, I think, is anything, if you use it in moderation and it is educational and informative, then I think it's appropriate. So yeah, so there is the good there. There is some good there, and parents are needed to moderate and to be a part of.
You're agreeing over there. They're nodding over there.
Yeah, to be a part of, you know, the mediation of what's appropriate, what's not appropriate, and be ready to take it and to, you know, restrict privileges if they do not use it appropriately.
Yes. What about you, Joy?
Cell phones are great because you know where kids are if you need to get a hold of them, and if they can get a hold of you as well. And television's great, especially when they're watching something that they can educate themselves on. I think it's great.
Good, good. Okay, moving on. Texting, tweeting, and other forms of social media. Can it get out of hand?
Oh yeah.
You know?
Oh, absolutely.
Can it get out of hand?
Yes,
Okay.
it can.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, it can get out of hand. Starting with you, Renee. Can it get out of hand?
It can, and I wonder from the rest of the panel if it's different by gender. I know my son doesn't do much Facebook. I mean, he's on it sometimes, but it's primarily to play some of the games, not necessarily for the conversation. I'm kind of wondering if it's a gender, if there's some gender differences here.
I think there might be, because, you know, with my, you know, child, she wants to be on the phone and wants to be texting, etc. I noticed that I just kind of read through the texts, make sure that, you know, it's not too late. I gave a cutoff time as to when you can text, when you can call, and as long as those rules are abided by, then yeah.
And I've found that with the texting, you do have to put a curb on it, because there's times where we'll have a family dinner and they'll be texting under the table or at the movie, and we have to really clamp down and say, okay, at family time or dinner time, you can't text. Or if you're at a football game and we're all, you know, participating and watching, you know, you don't be watching the game and then be texting. We really do have to watch that so it doesn't get out of control.
Well, I want to put that back upon you guys as the adults. Or do you think you're texting too much? And let me give you a little quick story. I was doing a play, and I had a young girl in the back, and it was her time to get out and do her part. Well, she's standing there texting, and I said, "You're supposed to get out on stage." And she said, "Well, it's my mom, and I've got, you know, the need to, I must text her back." So she's standing there, you know, saying, "Oh, I'm going to go out right now." And her mother was in the audience. Oh. So what about we as adults? Is it out of hand for us?
Sometimes it can be. I play what I call the 5-minute game. Like if I expect the kids home and they're not home yet, I wait 5 minutes. Okay, now how do I feel about them not being home? Because I don't want to text them and if they're driving and distract them, or even call them if they're driving and distract them. So just having that instant access can be very dangerous, I think, at times.
Okay, someone else.
I do text. I don't text a lot. Rob doesn't text a lot either. Sometimes I even have to remind him to take his phone with him because we don't have a landline. We don't have a home phone,
Right. A lot
and
of
so
people don't.
that's his means of communication. So if he's out or if he's even home, he needs that communication for safety, like you were saying earlier. But we're not I mean, it's quicker. It's, you know, a telephone call, it's hi, how are you? It takes more
Right,
time to
right.
get to your point. Texting, it's direct, and you just, it's not, you know, you send it and you get it back.
Right, right.
Well, I still enjoy the landline, being able to communicate. So I'm very limited in the minutes that or the texting that I can do per month. Because I've watched my grandchildren with their texting. They can be sitting in the back seat of the car and text, and two individuals can be sitting there, and they're texting one another instead of communicating. with one
Oh,
another.
you mean they're texting one another? They're not talking to each other. They're
Not
texting.
talking to one another, and I think it really causes them to lose the benefit of how to communicate to one another. So I do enjoy being able to speak to one another, to a person, because sometimes even when you are texting, you know, just tones.
Yes.
You know, what do you mean by this, or what do you mean by that? So being able to communicate helps you to be able to say exactly what you're saying, and then they can converse back. Oh, okay, I understand you.
Right. I heard you go when she said tones, Joy. What do you mean by that?
Yeah, because sometimes you have to, like she said, you have to figure out what do they mean. Because sometimes you don't hear the person's voice, you don't know how they had meant it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The other issue too is spelling.
Yeah.
Oh, I think
With
we
the
mentioned that
texting, yeah.
with the teens and screen
Yeah,
with the,
yeah, that's
so
really
true.
a-
teenagers.
an issue.
Oh, the spelling. So now that's becoming an issue.
Mhm.
And so if we think about college, what happens here? We've got all this. How does it be and the number 4 and the LOL and the.
Right.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Well, let's move on. There are 3 parts to this question now. So, first part. How do you try to prevent problems your teen may have with social media? For example, do you have any hard, fast rules about your preteen or your teen using social media on school nights, at the dinner table, as we kind of talked about that a little bit, or at family functions? How do you prevent these problems here? Is there any way to prevent that?
Well, you have the password to your child's social media.
Thank you for saying
and
that.
And you check your child's social media out and read their messages and find out, I mean, at least that's what I do, to find out, you know, who are you talking to? Because oftentimes young people are making friends with people who seem interesting, and often they don't know who they are. And so in this world, unfortunately, you have to be able to know what's going on.
Can't they quickly change their password though?
Well, yes, they can, but then that comes in then to the relationship that you have with your child. I mean, you don't change the password on your account because otherwise you won't have the account.
Okay, there you go. That's good. Otherwise,
You know, because if you're changing your password, then you're doing things that you're not supposed to be doing because you don't want me to read what's going on. And then that's really a red flag then. You know, if you're constantly changing your password when we've established that your password is what it is so that I can read it, so that I can stay abreast on what you're doing, but you're quickly changing it, then
so
you're
that's a
being,
red light.
that's
you're
a red
saying.
flag because you're being dishonest then. There's something else going on that you don't want me to be able to see the ins and outs. So
Anybody have anything else to say about that? What about you, Gabe? We haven't heard from you about that, Gabe.
I actually can kind of agree with that because a lot of my friends that are off in college now and everything, I've noticed that they've on like Facebook and stuff like that, they've posted a lot of pictures of them with alcohol and other things they just graduated with me a couple of years ago, so they still are underage, and it's just kind of the whole like that is out there, and I'm concerned if like their parents see it or like even if a future job. would be
There
able
you
to look
go.
and
You
see
said it
that.
right. Future
Very
job.
good,
Oh,
very
that's a
good.
good point, isn't it? Future
Very
job.
good.
And once
Yes.
it's out there, isn't it out there?
it's
Can't
out
Get it
there.
back, yeah.
It's out there.
And you want to
Forever.
get a job or whatever, you want to go to college, a certain nice college, it's out there. And you can't tell me they're not looking at it and seeing, whoa, what was that? Very good point that you brought about that. Okay, here's the second part here. As a family, do you ever unplug? Let's just unplug. Do you ever unplug? Think about it. I mean, do you say, this is one night, we are just, I don't know if you can even say one night for some people, it's so addictive. But I mean, do you ever unplug?
I don't. I'll admit,
Okay.
I don't. My family, I was telling everybody earlier, I have a very small family. My grandmother always had the TV on. always had it. She walked in the
Yes.
door and turned
That
on
is
the
that
TV
generation.
on. My dad walks in the door, turns on the TV.
Mm.
And so it's almost just kind of a family ritual. And television for me is something, not that I'm sitting down watching it, I'm doing a million other things, but it's just noise.
Well, it
on
used to
in
be the
background.
radio.
Yes,
You know,
exactly.
turn the radio on.
Right.
But now it's turn the TV on.
Right.
I know what you mean. Elfrida.
Well, when we have dinner, now my family is small at home, but because when my children were growing up, we never had a TV on. And still, when we say that we're going to have family dinner, then TV does not come on. We don't turn it on.
What about
This is
cell
our-
phones?
No cell phones either. This is our time.
So you're
for me-
unplugging?
Oh, yes. Oh, absolutely. You know, my grandson, sometimes he'll grab his cell phone and nope, let's put it away.
Let's unplug. What about
Let's
you?
unplug, yes.
What about you, Gabe?
Well, the only time that we're really unplugged is at like church when we do the traditional
Okay.
church service without all the screens and all that.
Right.
So that hour on Sunday morning is the only time that we are
Wow.
really.
So just an hour on
Yes.
Sunday. Ooh, what are we saying? What about you, Cara?
We used to more. When my mother-in-law was alive, she would come over on Friday and Saturday nights. And we'd play games as a family and do things. We'd still watch TV, but we would always have that quiet time. And now that she's passed away, I found I really miss that because she helped us create a structure that forced us to slow down.
Mm.
And it's hard to do that if you don't have a specific reason
Right.
to sit down and just sit down.
That's right. Bob, what about you?
Well, I'm a grandparent, so
Yay,
when all the
grandparents.
grandkids are over, it's family relationship time, you know.
Well, is it unplugged time though?
Absolutely, yeah.
And do you state that?
Yeah, and they're pretty, I don't have to repeat it all the time because I think everyone pretty much understands
Yeah.
that, you know, that it's
Good.
time for conversations
There you
and
go.
getting up to speed on what everybody's doing and that sort of thing, so.
Good.
yeah.
Jamila, what about you? Unplug.
Yeah, I there are times where I unplug. I don't consciously like say today is the day that I'm unplugged. However, when I get home, I'm so tired of talking to people. So by that time, it's just like it is unplugged because I'm ready to just be at home. And then there is times where I have work that calls, you know, and I have to respond to it, etc. Or there's emails that coming from my job and I have to respond. So I would like to unplug more. However, you know, I don't unplug as much as I would like to.
Okay.
So.
Jerry.
I think the most time that when we unplug is when we go camping a couple times a
Oh,
year.
good.
Yeah, that's just a standard
great.
rule.
That is
I mean, we
standard.
do have the cell phone just in case of an emergency, but everybody pretty much puts their phone away and any other gadgets.
Right, right. Joy.
The most we unplug is at dinner time every day. And I tell the kids they have to turn TV off. 'Cause I don't want to
That's great.
hear the noise. I want to talk to my kids and say, what happened today? What was your favorite thing today?
There you go.
And then we can communicate at the dinner table.
Oh, that's good. It sounds like you guys kind of got a little bit together here. Well, now I'm going to bring it back home to you guys. Do you think you provide the best possible role model for your children, your teens, your grandchildren? Are you a good role model? Think about it. How your day goes, and the end of the day, and you're having dinner, or you're watching TV. Are you a good role model? What do you think about it? Bob, I'm going to start with you. Are you a good role model as a grandparent?
Probably a little old-fashioned. I'm
Okay.
not on the phone tweeting all the time.
Oh, but you
I
do
do
tweet then.
catch up on business mostly when I'm on the, reading my texts and emails and that sort of thing. But
Okay.
yeah, I know when I'm around with family, it's off. So
Good. So you're a good role model then.
I try to
You give
be.
yourself an A+.
Yeah.
Oh, he pat himself on the back. Uh-oh. Jamila, what about you?
Yeah, absolutely, and that's one of the things that I say to my daughter Egypt, that when you read my Facebook page, do you see that anything that's inappropriate? Do you see any swear words? Do you see any foul language? Do you see anything that would be inappropriate or that would misrepresent our family or our name or who we are as a people? And you'll never see that. And that's what I want to see on your page.
There you go.
If there is foul language, if there is inappropriate pictures, or if someone tags you in an inappropriate picture where they have their middle fingers up or they're saying nasty things or inappropriate things, you are to block that friend, you are to remove those pictures, or we'll have to shut your page down, because if you can't be appropriate the way that I'm showing you, from me modeling this on my page and in my behavior in my emails, etc., then we have to go from there. So.
You said tag. Now, what do you mean by that?
Well, that's where a friend of theirs could potentially put their name on a picture or on a comment or on something and tag them in it. So they could have maybe 50 friends that they tag on a picture. Like one time my daughter had a picture with this boy who had 2 middle fingers up and had some inappropriate wording on the picture, and she was tagged in the picture. And so my sister, who is her aunt, contacted me and said, "Did you see what's on your daughter's page?"
Oh, very good.
No, I didn't. So we will handle that. So whenever there's inappropriate things that are tagged or any inappropriate likes, sometimes they can like different pages that'll have nudity or that'll have inappropriate
so if
conversation.
They like it, they can.
If they like it, it shows up on their page that they have liked a page, and then you can click on the page that they've liked and you can view what type of page it is, what type of information they have. And if it's inappropriate even there, then that's not appropriate to be on your page either. So it's just a lot of different avenues in which they can get involved in inappropriate things. But I think being a role model is and when it comes to this type of thing is, when I look at your page, Mom, when I read your texts, Mom, or when I see your different things, am I going to see what I need to be modeling? And absolutely.
Good. Jerry, what about you? Role model.
Role model, I think probably give myself a 50-50.
What is that? Is that a C minus? What is that? What is that? Is that a C minus? Is that a C plus?
It could be a C plus, because I think on the positive side, I think when it comes to texting, I don't text and drive. I really try to limit, unless it's a very important phone call, text or talk on the cell phone and drive. So I think my kids will tell you that they don't see me do those things. So I think there I do a good job. I think also with the Facebook, you won't find anything offensive or anything inappropriate. But probably where I could do a better job is when it comes to, I love sports. So like if the NFL is on or basketball is on, sometimes I could probably turn that off and maybe spend more time with the family. So that's where I would probably say I could do a better job in that scenario.
So how are you going to handle that one? Because there's a lot of sports. There's a lot of sports coming up.
Yeah, it's something that I really look at and say, okay, maybe I'll watch this game, but I won't watch another game. So it's a process.
Yes, it is. Oh, good. What about you, Joy?
I'm with him. It's about 50-50. My whole world is in my phone, from my calendar to day-to-day things. And it's like, so I think my kids see me on my phone a lot because my 9-year-old knows how to text. So but as far as like the good role modeling is like, if I'm in the car, my phone rings, I don't answer it.
Okay.
One of the kids in the back seat will answer it because it might be grandma is doing something important. But at least I don't answer the phone. I'm not texting when I'm driving.
Very good. What about you, Renee?
I think I do okay. Rob and I are friends on Facebook, just to make sure there's that double check there. I think in this day and time, work is huge, and you're always on call for your work. My work email flows to my phone, all that flows, and so I'm not that I have a job that's 24/7, but I'm always checking my email, seeing if there's something up there. So that's probably not the best role model, but I've always told Rob, I can't control what you see or what you hear, because they go to friends' house and that's not my house. Their rules are completely different, but I can control what you say and do. And so once that crosses that line, then that's the line where I step in and say that language isn't appropriate, or that behavior is not appropriate, or if you do this, I'm taking that game away because that's not right. But I had mixed feelings about it, because when he would go over to a friend's house, he would play the game that I said I didn't want to buy. And so I'm like, well, how is this going to work? And that's kind of life. Rules are different wherever you go, and so he needs to adapt to different rules than my house.
And say, Mom says that I can't play this, so I won't play this, even if it's over your house. Is that what you're saying?
Well, and I don't think it was malicious like that. It was just like, well, he has this game and his buddies are playing it, so is he supposed to step back and say, sorry, I can only watch? And so it's like, well, he needs to learn how to have those coping mechanisms to say, well, Mom says that this game was more violent than she liked. And then he'd come to me and we'd talk about it and say, okay, well, now that you've seen it, what do you feel? If you come down and pretend to shoot me, it's gone. You know?
Thank you.
And so there's kind of those barriers that those boundaries that we've set up with each other.
Exactly. Elfrida, what about you? Roma, are you?
I think I'm a pretty good role model. I think my children would probably most likely say I'm a little old-fashioned. You know, I'm very conservative when it comes to TV, the things that I watch. Facebook, I'm not on Facebook a lot. I do use Facebook, but I don't use it like my children use it. But they see me as an example. I'm sure that in the area of texting and television, really not. The telephone, I do use my telephone when I'm driving, and I think I know I could do a lot better job on that.
Right. What about you, Gabe, role model?
Terrible.
Really? Is he brutally honest or what?
Yes,
Terrible.
I mean, it's almost constant on the phone or on the computer or a combination of the two with the TV on in the background.
Wow.
It's
Would you like to
bad.
change it all, or are you comfortable? Like, I'm okay with it.
Some days it can be a little bit too much, but most days I'm fine with it because there's some days where I just feel like everything, like I'm just too connected and I just want to just be by myself for just a short period of time and all that. And
So that hour, that Sunday hour.
Yes.
That's your hour.
yes, that's my hour.
That's good.
And and then I have stopped posting some of the more inappropriate stuff. I mean, it hasn't been too terrible, but I have got bitten in the butt by it because I had forgotten that like my great aunt had was friends with me on Facebook or something like that, and I posted something that didn't have the greatest language use, but
Oh yeah.
so I've just kind of gotten away from all that because I know that it can bite you in the
That's
butt.
right. Yeah. Kara, what about you?
Probably 50-50.
We're in the 50-50.
As your kids get older, it's harder, I think, because they have all the technology and their
Yes.
phones and everything is a part of what they do. As far as texting and driving, no, I don't do that, but I'm on the phone when I'm driving, and that's not the best habit. And what I've noticed lately with our family is if all four of us together, which is a rarity anymore, one will be on a computer, one will be on a phone, I'll have my laptop out,
Wow.
and my husband will have his little device
Wow.
out, and it just kind of hits you. We're all watching TV, but yet we're all plugged in
You're all,
other places, and it's like,
yes.
I don't like where this is going.
No.
It's, you know, so it's hard.
Yeah, I see. Well, is there any remedy for that? I mean, can you think of changing anything like that?
Well, you could ban everything.
Yeah, then everybody's looking at you, giving you a mean look.
I think I need to be more purposeful in
Yes,
putting things
yes,
away and just say,
absolutely.
you know, this is our time together. Yes, let's watch a TV
Right,
show together and let's discuss things
Right.
and let's take away the other distractions because
Mhm.
it's really not necessary to have.
Well, for me, I could really live without TV. I have so many other things that I could do, but I do use my computer a lot because I am typing, I am doing stories. I will pick up my phone while I'm driving, and I'll just say, I don't want to stay on very long, whatever. But believe it or not, you guys, I have never texted in my life. I don't know how.
Oh.
If somebody would tell me, I don't know how to text. So, am I a good role model? Maybe I should say 50-50 too. I don't know.
Well, my son, who was with AT&T, he said that I had to come up with texting because I didn't text either.
Oh,
And so I have the most limited amount of texting that you can have
Okay.
per month, but he said it's necessary. The kind of work you do, you got to learn how to do
Right.
this, Mom.
But it's like the teenagers say, do you write the whole sentence out?
Well,
Or
I'm learning some of their language.
some of their language. Yeah,
So-
well, you gotta have some of their language.
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna talk about physical fitness.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes.
I've been just called away.
Oh, well, shall we excuse her? Well,
right, please.
she's been-
All right.
she's been called away. Okay.
Thank
It's your
you.
son texting you from AT&T, I bet.
Thank you, Elfrida.
Thank you so
Alrighty. Well, we'll finish with this one here. Physical fitness in our young people is linked to higher reading and math scores. Do you feel that your children are getting enough exercise? Do you feel that you're getting enough exercise? Think about it. Bob.
Well, my grandkids do get enough exercise. They're involved in activities and sports after school. And when they're doing that, they're not on the computer or on their cell phone. So it's important to make sure that they have enough time doing other things than.
Well, what about you, Bob? Are you getting enough exercise?
I don't think so. I try to on the weekends, but during the week I'm in front of a computer almost all day.
Wow.
So
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Jamila, what about you?
Well, every day after school, my daughter has Taekwondo.
Good.
And so for that hour and a half that she's doing Taekwondo, she isn't texting. She's joined student council, so when she's doing those activities, she's not texting. I definitely make sure that exercise is a part of my regimen. I do believe I could get more exercise, however, but I do have a membership to LA Fitness, and I do go there at least 3 times a week.
So you do work out.
I do to work out, and I notice that it does help me to feel, mentally stable, and also stable is in, as far as focused, so that when I'm doing my daily activity, I just find that I feel better when I've gone to the gym and when I've done that hour and a half. I can do more. I do believe I can do more, but I do believe in having a consistent, at least 2 to 3 times a week going to the gym to work out. So,
what about you, Jerry?
Yeah, I think my kids get a lot of exercise because we've always participated in some kind of sports. The girls like to dance.
Right.
One of the things we did when they were younger, we had them to make sure they were in some kind of a sport, whether it was softball, football, wrestling. So I think that helped them have a routine to do it. As far as myself, I've always been very active, but as I've gotten older, I can see that I've slowed down, and with the business, you end up getting, tied into other things, and it's like, I've got to schedule.
So you don't have a regular, do you have a schedule?
I do, but it's not as consistent as it should be.
Oh.
Yeah, and then we used to on Sundays, afternoons, as a family, we'd always go for a walk somewhere in some park. But then when my oldest daughter went off to school, that kind of fell off. So it's kind of like we need to kind of reorientate that and get that back in the groove where, as a family, we're exercising.
What about you, Joy?
I think in the summertime, my kids get plenty of exercise. There's more things to do.
Right.
Versus when it's 30 below and they're inside bundle up from the cold. So yeah, I think in the summertime, the fall, the spring, they do get plenty. But as in the winter hits, not so much.
What about you?
As for me,
Exercising?
I get up before the whole household gets up. So I find that is my time for me. It will never happen. Because once the household gets up and you feed the fish, your time is gone.
Is this like an hour before they get up?
It's
or?
45 minutes.
Okay.
that's good.
Oh, and is that every day?
5 days a week.
Oh,
That's great.
You go, Mom. You go. Oh, I love it. What about you, Renee?
Rob gets plenty of exercise. He walks home from school every day. So that's really cool. I'm glad we live, it's about 1.5 miles away from school, so he likes to walk home. He's involved in soccer, and so that keeps him occupied, and they practice every day for about 1.5 hours after school, not to mention gym and PE and those kinds of things. Myself, well, not so much. I'm not very active. Rob and I leave the house at before 7 o'clock in the morning, and I go to work. By the time I get home, about 5:15, fix him dinner.
Get dinner.
At 6:30, I want to spend the time with Rob instead of going to a gym because you've only got about 1.5 hours to 2 hours with your child. And so I choose to spend my time with him instead of going to a gym.
Okay.
And that's a really good excuse, too.
Well, I guess it'll work for right now.
Yes, exactly.
As
When he
you get older,
doesn't
you
want
may
me
change
around
it.
anymore, then I'll have time to go to
Then
the
you'll
gym.
have time. There you go. What about you, Gabe?
Particularly not anymore. I don't get enough exercise as I would like, mostly because my parents put me in sports and I swam 6 days a week for about 8 to 10 years.
Really?
So I just kind of burnt out.
Burnt out.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. What about you, Cara?
I get quite a bit of exercise, not as much as I need, but I'm like Joy. I get up early in the morning and exercise before I go to work. It helps me feel better, and it helps me think better, and
Sure
it
it
helps
does.
me control my emotions. And my other daughter is a dancer, so she gets a lot of exercise, and
Okay.
that's about it.
I've been told we don't have much time left, and I have at least 2 questions, and so I want your answers to be really succinct for me. So bullying and harassment has become a hot topic in our schools today. What about online bullying and harassment? Are you guys aware of anyone bullying or harassing? Your kids come home and tell you about anything like that? Are you aware of anything like that?
I have to say, I talked to my kids about that, and there doesn't seem to be any bullying online that they've had to deal with.
Okay, good. Jamila?
No, I haven't heard of any bullying online. I've read some messages in her inbox that were kind of questioning just the conversation, but not necessarily any bullying. There were some abbreviations that I wasn't quite sure
What they were.
You know, what
they
is
meant.
what is some of these abbreviations? Are the abbreviations maybe some swear words or some different things? So just some questions about the language between two people, but not necessarily bullying.
Okay.
I haven't seen any
Okay.
bullying. No. So.
What about you, Bob?
I have a granddaughter who's 10 now, and there was about a 2-year period where a couple of the kids in the class were bullying her and
Yeah,
everybody
yeah.
else. And
It's a real
this year,
issue.
the teacher took care of it and
Nipped it in the bud?
straightened those kids out.
There you
But
go.
Good.
There
a
you
lot
go.
of times, the teachers don't get as involved as they
Yeah,
should.
they overlook
maybe.
at her.
Yeah, they
Mm.
don't know quite what to do about
Right,
it.
right,
so,
right.
Yeah.
What about you, Joy?
Oh, my kids know what it is, and they know it's not appropriate. But no, as far as ever seeing it or being a part of it,
No.
no.
Okay, good. What about you, Cara?
My daughter did experience some, and my son has experienced some
Okay,
also.
okay. Oh, okay. Gabe?
Well, for all the parents that have said that they haven't seen any cyberbullying, I mean, just scroll down on any YouTube video
Oh,
and the
wow.
comments on there. I don't even do it anymore because it's usually someone calling someone an inappropriate name or saying that they should go kill themselves, and it's just
Really?
it is just terrible.
And that's on
I-
YouTube, you said?
Yeah, on the comments on almost any video.
Didn't know
And
that.
I'm sure the political videos are probably
Oh,
very
they're
bad
probably,
with
yeah.
that.
Oh, no, let's not even go there. Let's not even go there. Exactly. Oh, Renee?
The only thing I've experienced personally, I know of a friend of a friend of Rob's in the school, there was some kind of issue, and I don't know, it didn't seem like, I mean, it wasn't a full-blown bullying, but the school actually stepped in
Okay.
and
Had
pulled
him.
those kids together
Mhm.
and told them, before it became a huge issue,
Right.
that this was not appropriate.
That's right.
And so I thought that was the appropriate step to take from the school.
Good. We're going to jump on to pornography and the internet and sexting. I know you guys all know what that is. So now, I think they've kind of crept into our children's lives. What kind of guidance can we provide and will effectively shield them from the potential dangers of these things? What can we do?
I have my computer, our computer is in the kitchen.
Okay,
And so
very
it's in a
good.
very public spot where
We
I
need
know
public.
exactly what he's on. And, you know, again, the phone, I pay the phone bill, we see the phone, and so that's what I've done. It's in a
Okay.
public spot.
Okay. What about you? He's the one that seems to be in the college age that kind of knows more about what's going on here. So, pornography, sexting, is that an
Well,
issue?
It comes down to, like, especially with high school students, it is everywhere.
Yes.
So, I mean, I just think with maybe not necessarily trying to block it or anything on the computer, because they will find
They will
other
find a
means
way to-
get it. Just be open and just communicate well.
Okay. Cara?
Yeah, I find communication really is the key, and to remind the kids that they're very special and don't put anything out there that you will regret
Oh,
later on.
you will regret later on.
You know, and
Yeah. Now, quickly, Bob, I'm going to give everybody a chance to, and then I have to wind it up.
Sure.
So,
Yeah, just to keep reminding them that those pictures are going to be out there forever.
they're going to be out
You know,
there.
do you want them to surface 20 years
Oh,
later
my.
or, a long time down the road?
Yeah. What about you, Jamila? Quickly.
I often have the conversation, but I also talk about the soft porn. Sometimes there'll be just pictures of people in their bra and panties being seductive, or I'll see some of her girlfriend's pictures with their fingers in their mouth and half their chest is hanging out. To me that's inappropriate as well. I mean, so just having open communication and being able to help them understand this is not okay.
That's right. Jerry.
Yeah, I think the thing what we've done at home is really talk to our kids a lot about what's appropriate, what's not appropriate. And one of the other issues that we've really tried to hone in on is that they might put some pictures on Facebook that they think is okay, which I think is okay, but someone who, I'm not sure how to say this, but would look at those pictures and see it differently and get obsessed by it. And we have to tell them that even though you think it's okay, that person might see it as something more than what it is.
Right.
So it's a constant conversation and checking in with them.
Good. Joy.
And I would say, but just teaching and guiding your children what is okay and what's not okay, and checking on their inboxes and what they do have, and then guiding them through. And and tell them that once those pictures are there, they're never going to go away.
Oh, that's very true. Well, everyone, I thank you so much for being here. Oh, well, there you have it from Teens and Screens, our adult and parents panel. And I'd like to thank our guests for being here once again. You were so candid, you were so open. And maybe if we get a chance to do this again, because the time seems to fly, does it not?
Yeah,
it seems
definitely.
to fly. Well, I'm Candy Pettiford. I'm signing off until next time, and I thank you.